Good evening and welcome to episode 92 of Porterhouse and Teal Live. And it's 2 days before Christmas, Monday, the 23rd of December. And I thought we would do a little bit of a wrap-up show to end this year. And this will be our last broadcast in 2024 as we wind down toward the new year. I thought we would take a little bit of time to rest and reflect and relax and enjoy family over the holidays. And so we're going to be tapping out until sometime after the 1st. But how are you doing this evening, Miss Rebecca?
I'm good. I was at the grocery store. This was a few days ago. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you, as you get older, people don't hit on you anymore, right? You're just not as attractive as you used to be. So there's a couple homeless guys sitting there and they're like, hey, raising their eyes, and I'm trying to just ignore them.
Oh, geez.
But I'm thinking, hey, I finally got hit on, not by who I wanted. But,
that's horrible.
So that's kind of the downside of the week.
All right.
The second is yesterday we ended up with a little visitor that we hadn't planned on. He and his dad came down to visit, and he was very adamant he was going to stay with us. And the cutest thing, I don't think you heard him. I was sitting on the steps, and he sat down next to me and he said, I'm staying with Grammy. And then he leaned over, he put his head on my shoulder and he says, I love you. So sweet.
Yeah, that's the good stuff, man. That's the good part of getting to see the next generation is those little moments that just bring a smile to your face, It's so cute and like innocent. So
how do you tell him, no, we just had you a couple days ago?
No, that's all good. So he was able to stay, but good evening this evening, Bill Warner and Skane's girl in the house. How are you guys doing?
So, Sir Eric, how are you?
I've been better. I just got over having something about, 2 or 3 weeks ago. I came down with a sinus infection. That was fun. And then this past Wednesday, I noticed something tickling in the back of my throat, and lo and behold, I'm full-blown cold again. So I don't know what's going on, but 2 in a short period of time. Hopefully you don't catch what I have, but that other than that, I guess I'm doing fine. That and the splitting headache, but yeah, I'm doing okay.
You had no toothless woman in front of Rayleigh's hit on you?
Yeah, no, I did not. But
oh, you missed out.
I don't think I did. Yeah, it's crazy, man. We've got a lot of wandering people in town, and you have to really pick and choose, unfortunately, when you visit certain places. And that's just being aware. I think you have to kind of deal with that somewhat in just about anywhere you go, but some places more than others. And unfortunately, what we've seen here in this state, it's just kind of become more permissive to let people wander around that, have problems. And I don't know. So you got hit on by a couple of homeless dudes. Yeah. Quite the accomplishment of the week. Yeah, Skane's girl says that she misses mine. They love coming to Nana's house. Yeah, grandkids are cool. And we certainly are blessed by the number of them we have.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have a grip.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to be going to see some of them here on that candle lighting thing coming up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do a candle lighting every year at the church and on Christmas Eve. So we're going to go down and spend a little bit of time there and get to see everybody as well. That'll be nice.
Yeah, we'll be heading up to pick up our son who has disabilities and bringing him down, and he'll spend a few days with us and go to the candle lighting. He actually is the one that brought it up. I kind of forgot about it.
Right.
And he was just completely dialed in, knew what date and what time it was. And
yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I just wanted to, start off tonight, guys, by thanking everybody who's joined us on this channel. And that's the title of tonight's broadcast. It's Why Thanks is the Final Word of the Season. And since this is our last broadcast, I wanted to open with that and just say thank you to everybody who has joined the channel either on these live streams or watched a video or just came in for a moment. But I just want to thank everybody for that. This honestly is not anything that I thought we would be doing at this point in our lives. But I do enjoy coming on here once a week and kind of sharing some ideas and thoughts. And yeah, it's been a kind of an interesting little journey and evolution of these live streams. What's your thoughts on that deal?
I seriously did not expect doing this.
Mm-hmm.
You asked me to sit in with you, and I thought, okay, this is just going to be a once or twice, or maybe a little bit more if you were unable to get a guest to come on.
Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of turned into a weekly thing, and it's been a lot of fun. And I want to thank people who have purchased soap from us, and other products. We actually way back had the sweatshirts that people purchased, so that's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I will say that, YouTube sent a year-end like kind of summation or wrap up of, the analytics on your channel. And it's kind of surprising when you step back and you look at it from a broader view. And it's not something that I really pay that much attention to, quite honestly, because that's not what motivates me to do what I do on this channel. But, over the course of this last year, we've gained 11,000, almost 500 subscribers. And, it's just been kind of organically just happening. And it isn't like I'm really, really working hard to do that. I just am trying to put out content that people will enjoy in one form or another, whether that's a short, whether it's our live streams that we get on here and talk about different things, if it's the longer form content. And so I know not everything is going to be consumed by all of those people, but it is interesting to me that many people have shown an interest in this past year to come on. And they sent another statistic that says we had 4.2 million views of our videos, which that's quite a number of people with putting eyes on your content. And there's been over 17,000 shares of those videos. And so, again, that's not the focus of what this channel is. In fact, I've stepped back away from pushing out content on a really regular basis this year. And the reason why that is, guys, just to be fully transparent and honest up front, is that when this starts to feel for me like a job, then I don't want to do it. I'm doing this because I enjoy doing it. I like sharing information, and it's not the primary focus of what I'm doing isn't necessarily creating this side hustle or monetization. Now, of course, we have done that, and that's been something that has been a goal of mine, but that's only just in a small way to offset the time and the investment of some of the things. It's not really to try to get rich at doing this. It's more or less just to kind of have fun with it.
Certainly not getting rich at this.
Oh, no, that's not, I guess there's a lot of people that are making a shit ton of money off of their YouTube side hustle and creating other businesses and stuff. And for them, I say, go for it, man. That's like awesome. And I encourage people to do that. That's just, upfront, that's not really what the focus of this is. And I've said many times, if this gets to be a point where it's no longer fun, or I get pissed off at YouTube or whatever, then we won't do YouTube because we don't need this. It's more or less just an opportunity for us to come on here and chop it up with the folks that want to come on and listen to our live. So again, I do want to heartfelt thank you all for everything this year. And
absolutely. It definitely didn't start out a joint effort, but it's ended up that way, and it's really worked out nicely.
Right.
And we really appreciate all of you guys.
Right. Yeah, that's cool, man. Bill Warner says that he started watching this channel shortly before SRF in spring of 22. And I think I might have been out there that year. And he says, you're actually the main reason we went to SRF, which is, that's very, very nice of you to say. I know that that's not everybody's, I know that I'm not everybody's cup of tea.
It's funny,
but
you look at me when you say that.
No, I'm just, here's the thing is there's so many different ways that people can present themselves. And, I try to do so in a way that's somewhat authentic. And that's what I like about these particular YouTube live streams is that it's not an edited fake thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just kind of organic and it can kind of, just happen. And so I appreciate comments like that when we get that kind of feedback. And I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Let's see here. Yeah.
We're missing our little middle girl here.
Yeah, she's out by the fire. She's knowing where it's at. Says, I got a fur for Christmas, whatever that means. I'm not sure, Willow Rocks. What does that mean? I think that's a typo. But anyhow, one of the things I wanted to do. Oh, right on. That's very nice of you to say. Willow Rock says, no nonsense vibe is what I get from you, and your wife is sweet gem of a lady. Well, I will say this, that she's way sweeter than me. She is the one that
thank you.
She takes, I mean, that's what I think balances us, because I'm pretty hard driving, pretty type A, and she's much more easygoing. And if we were both that way, it never would have worked.
Oh, we would crash.
Oh yeah, for sure. And so, I'm fortunate to have her, and I hope she feels the same about me most of the time.
Well, most of the time.
Most of the time.
Actually, he's a great motivator.
Yeah.
And keeps me on track.
Except when the homeless dudes start smiling at you, then you question our relationship, I see.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was kind of cute.
I bet.
Not really.
Right.
Probably could have used a bath.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight is, and this isn't something that I do, and I don't think that it's necessary for me to do to be motivated, but I do find some value in it. And I'm taking a page out of Nicole Sauce's book. And Nicole's somebody that I look up to. I'm inspired by her entrepreneurial spirit and her knowledge. And one of the things that she does every year is she does a word of the year. And I've never specifically done that, but I thought we would kick that around this year. And I was going to ask Rebecca what her word of the year is, because the word of the year, essentially, in the way that I look at that, is it kind of helps to recenter and refocus you as you're moving through the following year, so that when you start to stray from that word, or you start to do other things that are counter to the word that you're having as your centering piece, then it can kind of bring you back. And so first off, let me ask you, what is your word of the year, Rebecca?
So my word of the year is patience. I consider myself a patient person. However, as I get older, I notice that I get a little more agitated at things I normally wouldn't have. And so take, for instance, grocery shopping. I'm a kind of a fast walker. And when I get behind somebody that's moving really, really slow, I get kind of anxious, like, could you just speed up? And I just have to take a deep breath and go, you know what? It's not that important. They're shopping. I can relax. And it does exactly what you said. It just kind of recenters me, slows me down, and when I can go on from there. Yeah.
I find that it depends on what it is. With regard to patience for me, I can be patient with some things, but other things I just have very little tolerance for. And sometimes that shows outwardly. And so maybe I could take a page out of your book by incorporating maybe a little bit more patience into my game. But I think most people could probably say that to some extent. I don't know if any of you guys do a word of the year, but I'm throwing that out to you now. Listening to this, is there anybody that does? Do you have a word of the year that you have already thought about, or is that something you're going to be thinking about?
So while they're thinking of theirs, what is yours?
Yeah, mine is the word bold. And the reason why I've settled on that, I guess, as a word for myself, is because I think that it's naturally our inclination as human beings to just be comfortable. I think we all want that comfort. We want to be warm and cozy and don't have any strife, and we don't want to have any stress, and we don't want to push ourselves to the point where, things are uncomfortable. And I think that it's important, at least for myself, not for other people. Other people are completely comfortable not taking bold steps. But for me, I need something to challenge me in life. And I don't think it really matters what it is. I just need further challenges because, we're both retired.
Mm-hmm.
We could easily just sit around and do nothing. And hey, let's go travel. Let's do this. Let's go on vacation. Let's relax. Let's do these things. And there's time for that. We did those things. We had time to spend a little bit of time just kind of, screwing around. And we can still do those things. But I guess my point is, you're never going to know what you're capable of if all you ever want to be is comfortable. And if you don't challenge yourself in a way that takes you outside of your comfort zone and do bold things, how are you going to ever know if that's something that you're good at? And so if you even have an inclination that, hey, maybe I'd like to try that, what I'm encouraging myself to do, and then if this resonates with anybody listening, encourage yourself to challenge yourself outside of your comfort zone. Quite honestly, sitting here talking to a microphone, talking to the internet and people in a live stream isn't exactly my most comfortable space in life.
It's not even close to comfortable for me.
Right. But see, here's the thing. It's like that with anything that you do. You're never comfortable when you start in a new job. You don't know the ins and outs of what to do. It takes a period of time for you to get that callus built up. It takes a bit of time for you to get that knowledge, to understand how the game is played. And so that's one of the reasons why I like to challenge myself doing things, whether it's content creation, whether it's in my athletics. I really want to challenge myself to do bold things. And that's something that I'm committed to doing this upcoming year. I've got some pretty, I won't say scary, but they're concerning races coming up that it's not like it's a give me. There's no predetermined outcome that's like, oh, this is going to be easy. No, it's going to fucking suck. It's going to hurt and it's going to be hard. But on the other side of that pain is growth. And so that's why I sign up for hard things. That's why I do these things. Not only that, I want to set the example for others. May not be somebody who listens to this. They'll never have the desire to do that, but maybe they get the inclination that, I want to try to stretch myself in this fashion. And to try to do that by leading by example, whether it's me doing it, just let it ring out.
Okay.
Sorry about the phone. Whether that's me doing it or somebody, whether it's my family member picking up on that, or maybe it's just somebody that's randomly happening to listen to this content. That's one of the reasons why I do that. Not only that, maybe to set the example, but also to plant that seed within myself to say, hey, I don't want to get to the last few years of my life and look back on that and realize, I wonder if I could have done that. And I don't want to be that person, because there's plenty of time to sit and watch TV and watch Netflix and watch football in your fucking slippers when you're of that age. I really find it interesting that as we age, we get a much greater perspective of life. And here's something I'll hit you guys with that's a little sobering. If you're somebody who's 56 years old and you're the average American and you're 56 years old, male, you've got 22 years left to live. So just think about that. And those 22 years, man, are going to freaking fly by. And are you going to look back later and go, I wonder, I should have done that, while you're sitting there wondering? So I'm interested in not leaving stones unturned and going out there and challenging myself and doing bold things. So,
yes, I don't disagree with that.
Mhm.
However, you jump in big.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say I tend to be a person who would challenge myself, but I take probably smaller steps at it.
Mm-hmm.
And once I achieve that, then move on. I don't just go from ground level to straight to the top.
Well, I didn't really do that either, like with regard to my athletics, but we all have different levels of what makes us comfortable and what makes us uncomfortable and what we think we're capable of. So I would just say that, you don't always pick the safest path to get to the end result. I mean, that's the easy way. Hey, I know I can do this, so I'm going to choose that. Choose something that actually scares you. Choose something that actually puts fear into you. Like, oh, that makes me really uncomfortable. If public speaking isn't your thing, if getting up and talking in front of people is not your thing, you don't have to do that. But you know what? The more times that you do, the better you get at it, the easier it becomes. And that's like with anything in life. It's never easy when you start out. And so, that's my message, or excuse me, my word of the year is bold. Yeah.
I would consider you bold already.
Well, I mean, I look at it like this. I was just talking about being comfortable. And I think so many people look around and they go, oh, well, I'm just like that person, because you're grading yourself on a curve. You're thinking, oh, well, I'm 59 years old, and I'm maybe middle, or I'm doing okay. Right. Or you look around in your neighborhood and you go, oh, I'm doing okay. It's all good. But you're putting yourself in a box. You're not realizing your potential. When you look around and you judge yourself based on those around you, you should be the one out there pushing boundaries and setting the example for others, rather than looking around and saying, well, I'm fucking good enough. So that's the way I approach it. And, not everybody thinks that way, but I don't think you'll ever find out what your potential is unless you think about life in that way. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not how I look at it. It says, Willow Rock says, the discipline to get back to training, jiu-jitsu, boxing, weight training, the discipline to get my wood and rock business off and running. All of those things are challenges for sure. And it takes discipline. And I've really become quite a lot more interested in being disciplined in my own life, because I'm the controller of that. I'm the master of what I do, how I conduct myself, what the things that I do, the things that I eat, put in my body. All of those are choices we have the ability to make, and it all boils down to discipline.
No, I control what you put in your body.
Yeah, some truth in that, guys. A lot more than you know. Yeah, so cool. Yeah, how many summers you have left? Yeah, summer's a good time of the year, but I think, quite honestly, all of them are great times of the year, and that's why I really like living where I live, because we have such great distinct seasons. Right now it's time for the fireplace and soups and stews, and she made chicken, or no, it was a turkey
soup
from
leftover our family dinner.
Yeah, turkey soup last night, and we had split pea, and it's just that time of year. It's raining out there right now, guys, and we're inside, and it's nice. And so I love the winter time when it's winter, but pretty soon I'll be like waiting for spring. I'll be ready for the trees to start breaking dormancy. So
I know he looks out there and he says, oh, those sheep need to be fed.
I know. I don't want to go out.
I don't want to go outside.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let's see here.
That's why I don't mind the chickens. They usually are just excited to go to bed.
Get caught up on a comment or two here. It says, Hog says, when we were kids, we always said, can't wait until I'm older and out of the house. And then we got there and wanted to go back to our younger years to accomplish more stuff. Boy, I'll tell you what, man, there is so much truth in that. There's so much wisdom in that statement right there, because I think most people can look back on those years and think, wow, maybe not with regret, but like, man, if I had known what I know now then, and I might have done things maybe a little bit differently or whatever. But that's just a part of like growing up. But yeah, you always want to get to the next level. And then pretty soon you get to our level and you start realizing, there's not that many seasons left.
Well, and you didn't have any responsibilities when you were younger. It was just carefree. You just went and did what you did and came home. And
yeah, those were good times for sure. Bill Warner says the scariest thing I ever did was join the military. And it turned out that discipline was exactly what I needed. Yeah, I think that's probably a really good thing for a lot of people, man. The military. They tried recruiting me. They were like, hey, we had military recruiters come to school and they're like, hey, what do you want to be? They doing the career day or whatever. And I let the dude know. I said, yeah, I want to be a fireman. I couldn't get rid of that fucking guy. He was calling my house, man. And I actually had to, this is like, I'm not like, in my younger days, I wasn't like that direct and confrontational with people, but I actually had to get in this dude's face and say, look, man, it sounds good, but I'm just not interested. So stop calling me. But man, they're pushy, those recruiters, man. I don't know. You probably never had to deal with that, but like dudes.
I didn't for me, but they called for Ben. And I said, I'm pretty sure you don't want him.
Yeah. Yeah. Looking at 56 from 63 is interesting. It was vaguely normal pre-COVIDs. Yeah. That seems like a distant memory. I will say that it seems like things are returning a little bit more toward normalcy, which is nice. Much more at ease in the country. Maybe not by some in other political parties, like the Democrats and left-wing people are probably pretty stressed and thinking of leaving the country. But I think most people, because most people voted for the guy that actually won. So I think most people are thinking it's going to be a Merry Christmas this year for the first time in a lot of years, thankfully. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah. I watched a guy today.
Mm-hmm.
Might have been yesterday. I was in the parking lot and just sitting in his car and putting his mask on and getting it all adjusted.
Unbelievable, man.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me.
Unbelievable. Yeah, it is ridiculous. So I wanted to get to this. What was, let me ask you, Rebecca, what was your biggest surprise in 2024? To recap the year, what of all of the things that happened and everything, what was your biggest surprise?
Well, for me, I guess I never imagined doing any of this. So as far as doing the live streams, doing all the homesteading, taking care of chickens, I can't really say that it was a surprise. I don't know if I would say it was a surprise, but very different to learn how to do all of that.
Yeah.
And surprised that I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because I never gave it any consideration.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you've always said, we're never having chickens.
Well,
they're dirty birds. I'm never having chickens. And now we got a whole bunch.
Oh, we have more than we need. Yeah. So that's your biggest surprise in this last year. Okay.
Well, there's probably many.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's one.
Okay.
I guess my other surprise is that Trump physically made it into office.
Mm-hmm.
That's another one. I was really hoping, I had a lot of faith in that.
Yeah, I would say that is my biggest surprise of the year. I had my mind set on the fact that he was not going to get elected just based on what happened in the last election. But I was on what I hadn't foreseen is behind the scenes how much they had actually done to put people into these swing states and ensure that there wasn't cheating going on at the highest level. And so that's why you saw the return to more normal numbers in the election, where somehow 12 to 14 million votes just vanished from what Biden got to going back to more normal numbers for what the Democrats get. In fact, she got less than, any Democrat in recent memory.
Mhm.
In a pretty highly charged, you would think there'd be more interest, but I guess it just goes to show of what a poor representation of a candidate she was, and people just didn't buy it. And so that was my honest biggest surprise for the year.
Well, I just felt that Trump had some powerful people behind him, and I was thinking he's a smart man,
Mm-hmm.
and he's got to have something going on, and he's just keeping his mouth quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be his best bet for him to get back into office.
Right. So let me ask you this: what is your what's the homesteading achievement that you're most proud of for the year?
Again, there's a lot of things. I mean,
Okay, well then name some. What is?
so getting products that we don't have to purchase from the store, that's huge.
Such as?
We don't buy soap anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We don't buy mayonnaise, mustard, ketchup, spices, because we're all providing that for ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a long time since I bought a loaf of bread because we use the flatbread.
Mm-hmm.
I think I could continue to rattle on. No tomato sauce, no canned tomatoes, because we're growing it all.
Yeah.
And providing it for us.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely something that is worthy of being proud of, being food sovereign, or at least being a little bit more mindful as far as the products that you're deciding to purchase.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really, really huge. Let's see here. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. Skane's girl says that my birthday is in 6 days. Some days I think I am crazy starting over at my age. When I was younger, I lived for the moment. Yeah, I think a lot of younger folks tend to do that, and it either works for them or it doesn't. Maybe they figure out later that they wish they'd maybe done something different. I don't know. But I would say to you that it's, starting over is like, it's almost a blessing, in fact, that you have the ability to say, hey, I'm starting over, rather than just saying I'm giving up or whatever. Because there's a lot of people out there that are just not willing to do that. They're just willing to just stay right where they are. And so starting over, again, is doing something bold. Mm-hmm. That's challenging yourself. And I think that that's something to be commended. And you should be like stoked about a new opportunity, because that's what life is just a series of choices that we have to make for whatever opportunities out there. There's so much that people can do, but yet so many people make excuses as to why they can't do it. And that's the thing that always drives me crazy, is people that make excuses. Oh, I can't do this, or I can't do that. Well, okay, you've made that choice for yourself, but believe me, it is a choice, because there's so much that you can do, and you're just convincing yourself you can't. So that's awesome, Skanes, that you're doing that.
And there's no better time to start than now.
Well, for sure. Yeah, the Army was great and horrible for my brother, and recruiters are relentless. Yeah, at least the one that I had experienced was very man, he was just way persistent. But that's how they get people to sign up, I guess. But I just had enough of that dude's act, man. I was just like, man, you need to stop calling me, man. I'm tired of this. But it says, I never judge those with masks, just because you never know. They could be low immunity or just got over a cancer treatment, etc. If they want to do that, that's on them. That's true, man. You're mm-hmm. entirely right. And that by me saying that, I'm making an assumption, because I've seen that so much. But yeah, they're probably somebody who's weakened immunity. They're probably elderly with underlying comorbidities, and they're just super freaked out about catching even a cold. So yeah, I understand there's people that are going to be around who are going to be masked up or whatever, but yeah, I don't know.
I don't judge people who actually wear the mask and they keep the mask up. But when I see them and they pull it down and they talk to people and then they pull it back up, I'm like, I don't know why you have it on.
Right. Well, I mean, again, to his point, Hogs's point, it's none of our business what people do.
Mm-hmm.
You want to wear a fucking tinfoil hat and walk around town. That's your business, man. It's America. You're going to be judged accordingly. Now, understand, people are going to look at you a certain way. And I think there's a lot of that going around to this day with regard to the mask thing. I tend to judge people when I see them that way. But you're right. Yes, they could have some thing. They could have just got out of some treatment or whatever, and they're super freaked out about any germ. And, it's not my business, but.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, happy birthday, Skeins girl.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, what's up? How are you doing, Tag? Good to see you, man. I hope things are well with you and B out there in Kansas.
Hi, Tag.
Oh,
I said hi, Tag.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So let's see where we're going, huh?
So Skeins girl, is your birthday on the 29th?
Oh. I was going to talk about my homesteading achievement is, I guess, and it's basically, we've been on this property. We've homesteaded for a lot of years, and we've done things here that haven't always penciled out. We haven't been able to make money. And I wouldn't say that we're making money now, but at least now we have monetized some of the things that we're doing on our property to the extent that it's paying for some of the hobby that we're involved in, because many people homestead and, it's a very expensive way to go about things because you've got to buy things for animals. You've got to do this, you've got to do that. And there's just a big cost associated with that. Now, I will say that it's completely beneficial and you don't necessarily need to sell something on your property to make it worthwhile, because self-reliance is the currency and the capital of homesteading. You're doing something for yourself. So that in and of itself is a currency. But as I said, we've done things around here with our animals and our homestead for more than 20 years, but yet we've never made any money. We've never worried about selling anything because we didn't think that was, it's whatever. I don't want to even go through the trouble. But within the last year, we have monetized a few little items and we've sold a few little things. And, we're selling eggs and all of that and selling a few animals. And that's kind of helping to offset the cost of what we're doing here. So for me, that's an achievement. Again, it's not the main driver of why we're doing what we're doing by any means, because we're not going to retire on the few cents that we get through monetization of anything. Mm-hmm. But I think that that's a laudable goal, and it's something I'm pleased with, to be able to at least monetize this channel so that we get a little bit of revenue back from the effort of producing content. Because until you become a content creator, you don't realize that it actually is kind of like a job, and it takes your time, and your time is worth something. Your time is worth money, essentially. And so I guess I'm most proud of that by taking the step to get a website, get, some items for sale, because as many of us know, it's better to be and I think I heard somebody in Kansas say this one time, and he goes by the name of Tag. He said, it's better to be a producer than just a consumer. And so I would encourage anybody listening to this, if that takes you outside of your comfort zone, think about pursuing that, because you might get to the point where it becomes easier. And then it might be something that you actually enjoy. And it might be something that actually turns into a business for you. So I would just, I guess, make that as I don't know, just a message to send out there to folks. But that's what I'm most proud of. And I would say along with that, it's a furtherance of becoming more self-reliant with the expansion of our food security. around here by the food we've been able to put back and the way we're growing food, and just being more energy resilient with what we've done with our solar system this year. Those are all very big things that I'm proud of this year, and they are achievements. And I think I can look back on this year and say, you know what, hey, we've put ourselves in a better position than when we started and entered 2024. We're not just static. We're not just doing the same old bullshit. We're actually moving the ball forward, and we're becoming stronger, and we're becoming better than we were yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've sold sheep, and we're pretty good at continuing to sell eggs.
Mm-hmm.
We probably sold probably 150 dozen eggs over the year, which is really nice. We have a particular lady that comes up from the Bay Area, and she's so sweet. Even though there's eggs that are being sold close to her house, she first bought from me, then saw the sign that eggs were being sold there, and has said, you know what? I'm just going to keep buying eggs from you, which is really nice. You get out, you kind of talk to a person, socialize, get to know, take an interest in them. And, they keep coming back.
Right. Yeah. They've also got a business that, if in fact we need them in the future, we'll probably wind up utilizing their services because of the services that they do provide. They've got a tree service. And if I need any climbers or anything like that to do some tree removal, guess who I'll probably be calling? And it's nice to be making those contacts. That's the value of trying to, put yourself out there and figure out who are the resources in your area. And, I'm really big on supporting like local small business. Mm-hmm. I think that that's so important. I'm actually in communication with a guy today over purchasing something from him, and he's trying to get his business off the ground. And I'm passionate about that. I would rather spend my money there than spend it in Amazon. But I'm not going to lie and say that I don't spend plenty of money at Amazon.
Oh, you spend plenty of money at Amazon.
It's just convenient. It'd be nice to say, well, I'm not going to do that, but it's like when you can't find it, or it's like way cheaper. It's just more convenient. But I do like to try to support small business when I can.
There's a flower shop where Eric's mom lives, and you can't walk in. They are an order only, but it's small. And it's not profitable for them to actually have a storefront where you walk in. So I purchase flowers from there anytime I send flowers to his mom. Mm-hmm. And it's so nice because they follow up with an email that we've received your order, we're making your order, mm-hmm. Your order's gone out for delivery, here's a picture of your order. Yeah. And then they send another email to you that it has been or has been delivered.
Right. Yeah, that's still it's kind of man, with all the automation that's going to be coming in the future, it's just nice to get personal service with people. I really prefer being able to pick up the phone and call and talk to somebody over an issue or, just getting information. And that's kind of becoming something in the future, I think, that's going to be harder and harder to find, maybe, at least on the corporate side of things, because of probably the push toward AI and automation. And I think a lot of that is just these corporations are getting tired of fucking people wanting to be paid for not showing up to work and bitching that they got a back injury and going out on comp and wanting all this stuff when they're substandard employees. And then they want $30 an hour for flipping a burger. They're just I think McDonald's and all the rest of them are getting tired of it, and you're just going to see them all replaced. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be something that's going to happen industry wide, because you're not going to have to pay them health benefits. You're not going to have to do this. You're not going to have to do that.
No sick leave.
No sick leave. No calling in sick.
No vacation time.
Right. So they're going to invest in that technology, and it'll become harder and harder to find, and more people's going to be steered toward that type of an interaction. And so anytime you can support a small business owner who's still able to pick up the phone and talk to you, or that the service you're going to get is supporting something locally and keeping that money within your community, 100%, you got to go there. You just do, mm-hmm. in my opinion. Yeah. Yeah, the trick is getting strangers to buy your products. I guess so. I guess so. Yeah. Tag says it's critical. Sustainability is when the output exceeds the input. Yeah, there's some wisdom right there. Yeah. No, we don't sell them at the farmer's market. In fact, we sell the majority of our eggs to clients.
People.
So it's really convenient because we just do a weekly thing. And I mean, we've still got, I asked you this morning how many eggs we got, and you said we got another 6 dozen right now, or even more probably, right?
Just a little over 6,000.
Yeah. So we're still getting 6 dozen eggs a week. Plus, I mean, even more than that, because I'm eating like a lot of eggs, like 7 eggs a day. Right.
At least.
Yeah. So we're still cranking out eggs, and I've actually got, I think we're 12 days out from our next hatch. So the little chicks that are in the brooder are getting up and flapping their wings. And then I've got another hatch that's going to be coming out. We'll see how many eggs come out of that one.
I have to say,
Excuse me.
in all the chicks that you've ordered, we've always had to deal with pasty butt.
Yeah. And these ones,
and these ones, not at all.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's only been 15 birds. So it's not to say that there's any trend there per se, but of the ones that we hatched this year, that's all we've seen so far, but we'll see. It's not uncommon that happens. Skane's girl says, I paid a little extra for sweet potatoes from a little old couple who sell Vardaman sweet potatoes for extra money. Yeah, that's good. I love to see that. I would definitely do that myself, you know. Yeah. Is that maggots on what are you talking about? Is that maggots on the rear of the chickens?
No, pasty butt?
Pasty butt. No.
No, it's clogged up poop.
Yeah. They get, their vent gets kind of occluded from all their manure, and then it starts to accumulate, and then it backs up on the inside of them, and it can go, toxic and become pretty septic quick, and then they'll die. I mean, we've relieved a few of them, or I say we like this, right? It's her doing it. She flips it, and then it just like gushes out, and it's just disgusting. And then
they die shortly after that. 15
minutes, they're dead. It's kind of a shitty deal. Well, no pun. So personally, Rebecca, I wanted to ask, what in this year, what personal achievement are you most proud of?
Well, honestly, I gave up running, and when my mom was ill, and I never really thought that I would start it back up. But I don't know, you started after we were done hiking, you kind of got back into the running, and you were going and everything else. And I thought, maybe this is something I should do. And I didn't want to tell you that was something I was going to try to do, because I thought, well, I don't really like to run anyway, and I'm probably not going to stick with it. So I'd wait for you to go to the gym, and then I would go out and I would run 3 miles, and I'd come back, and I was being pretty consistent with it. And then I got caught one time running, and I think you thought it was just kind of a one-time deal. So I just let it pan out that way. I didn't say anything. So it took probably 2.5 months before I actually told you that I had been running. And over that time, I have just increased the mileage. So it was 3, but I run anywhere from 6 to 7. That's a day. And I'm doing that on my own persistence to get myself out there without you encouraging me. Before you would say, come on, let's go. Let's do this. Come on, you need to. But so anyway, I'm proud of that I am self-motivating myself. Yeah,
that is super awesome. I'm at the point where it's not like it's anything that I want to, hey, you need to do this or whatever. Cause I know you were training before for these races specifically. And I was trying to encourage you, hey, this is, you need to do this, you need to do that. And then at some point, you get to the point where it's like, I'm just over whatever you do is what you do. And so I'm completely thrilled that you've taken it upon yourself to just self-motivate.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's cool.
Well, thank you.
I think that's super cool. I would say for me, it's been the dietary change that I've encountered this year. And that's been a result of having some blood work done and, seeing some things in my blood work that made me want to try to change it. I went to a doctor and he's like, oh, here's this, take this for that. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do this instead, because there's so many doctors that's how they make their living. That's what they know. They look at every problem as, hey, I'll write you a prescription for it. And unfortunately, I think in our country, so many people are willing to take the easy road and to say, well, I just want to do the same thing that I'm doing. I know that I'm overweight. I know that I've got this health problem. I know that, I've got type 2 diabetes or whatever, and I'm borderline this or that. I'll just go get a prescription for Ozempic. That way I can continue to eat the same bullshit.
Want me to turn it off?
You're going to have to go turn that off. That way I can continue to eat the same stuff and just take this pill. And so many doctors are willing to do that because most people are not even willing to make the change. That's the hard change, and that's changing what you eat. And so I went on a very strict diet. I think it was probably about, starting back in May. And I cut out a lot of different foods. I cut out, essentially everything. Everything that's processed, I don't eat. The only thing that I eat is whole foods. And I'm not exclusionary to eating just vegetables or just meat or whatever. I eat it all. But I eat a diverse array of whole foods. So, it's really changed my blood work. It's really changed my overall health. And I think I'm most proud of that, because it really does take discipline to take control of your health, because it is such a difficult thing for many people to do because of the convenience that we have in our society with shitty food right before us. There's a burger joint, a fast food burger joint on every corner in every town, mostly. I went to Kentucky, and this blew me away. On the main drag there where I was staying, it was in between my thing and I was going down to Planet Fitness to get a workout in, is this main drag. And there was literally fucking 2 Waffle Houses inside of 2 blocks. I never seen such a thing. I'm sitting at the stop sign and I can see 2 Waffle Houses. And it's just a sign of the times. And that actually really bothers me. I'm going to get on a little bit of a rant here, but it bothers me when I go to another place and all I see is the same shit I could see anywhere. It's all the same businesses. They're all those corporatized eating establishments, and they're just everywhere. They just plug them in everywhere. And so it doesn't matter if you're, in Los Angeles, California, or Charleston, South Carolina, or anywhere USA, it's all the same. And that just drives me crazy. And that's just the convenience of the industry that supports quick, fast, easy. There's nothing of value there. It fills a hole with regard to the food. It fills your stomach. But that's about all that it does. It nourishes you to the point where it gets you some calories, but it's very poor food. And so I made that choice for myself, and I'm really pleased with that. Mm-hmm. It's not easy to do. It's caused her a lot more work, honestly, yes. Because, it's easy to just go down and pick up a pizza or go, hey, let's go eat out, or let's do this or whatever. You can't even fucking eat out without getting some bullshit. Mm-hmm. So it is what it is. But I'm pleased with that. No alcohol, no nothing. I used to drink booze. I used to chew tobacco for years. and that's all gone. And so these are changes that I've made that I'm proud of myself for, because it's not easy.
Yeah. Well, I don't smoke or I don't drink, so I didn't have to worry about that.
See, you're the sensible one of the two of us. You got it all figured out. I'm like, I got issues, man.
But my downfall is I really, really liked coffee creamer, and I gave that up.
Yeah. See, it's all a part of just like conditioning yourself to something different, and pretty soon you're like, this is pretty tasty.
Not really. It's better with coffee creamer.
Well, yeah, I guess. Let's see. Willow Rock says, I've been riding a bike a lot more, 30 miles, 3 times a week. My knees and feet can't take the abuse of jogging anymore. Yeah, that's a common problem a lot of people have, is their joints. But I would also say this, that it's merely it's merely conditioning, quite honestly. People want to go out and do too much, and then their body has not adapted to those changes. And I mean, I used to have problems with my knees, but shit, I run all the time, and my knees are fine. And
yeah, but
huh?
That's not necessarily the situation for everybody.
It isn't for everybody, no. But I mean, here's the thing: it's like, do they hurt when you walk? If they do, then I mean, you can go and you can run, you can walk, run, walk. Pretty soon, your body adapts to those stresses, and it gets stronger if you give it proper rest and proper nutrition. And it's just the reality of it.
Mm-hmm. But running's not the only sport out there. So.
100%. I don't think it's for a lot of people. It's not everybody's bag. But Willow Rock says, I just had my blood work done. Need to get 1 point down on my A1C, and then everything else was good. That's awesome. I think it's important, man, to peel back the hood, because you see a lot of information out there on the internet. Oh, do this, do that. This is great or whatever. And all I will say is that certain things work good for certain people. Certain people do great on the carnivore diet. Certain people do great as a vegan. And what bothers me is when people get so completely dogmatic in their approach to saying, well, this is what you should do. This works for me, so therefore it should work for you too. And that's just not how it works. Everybody's body is individual, and everybody's body is different. And so it's just really incumbent upon the individual to find out what works best for them. But the only way that you really are going to know is go get some blood work done and see what your triglycerides are, see what your HDL and your LDL is, and what your HDL and your ratios. And there's a lot of different things to evaluate. And so it's important to get those things under control. Let's see here. Tambra Smith, what's going on? How are you doing tonight? Welcome. So Rebecca, what is an unexpected achievement that I guess was not on your list of things to do, wasn't on your radar at the start of 2024, that you were able to do?
I had no plans on making soap.
You didn't?
No.
I thought you were making that last year. Were you not making that last year? Anyhow, go ahead.
I thought you said on the radar at the start of 2024. I don't think that I was making it at the start of 24.
Okay. So you started that just this past year, making the soap?
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe so.
I thought you were making it the year before too. No? Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't think so, though.
Okay.
So that was not on my radar. Obviously, doing live streams was not on my radar.
Mm-hmm.
And running was not on my radar either.
Yeah.
But I've also added swimming back in. And so that's kind of a nice switch up from the running. However, I injured myself, so I have to wait till my arm heals to actually get back and swim. And then just the whole homesteading and continuing to do products for ourselves.
Yeah.
that I would say probably was not on my radar in 2024, but has grown through 224.
Right. Okay. Yeah, cool. Skane's girl says that she's done both whole food, plant-based diet, and carnivore. A1C, cholesterol, good doing either. Yeah. Yeah, some people, they make choices for whatever reason and it works for them. That's pretty awesome if you can eat whatever you want, I guess, essentially, to either side of either meat-based or plant-based, and it's not really affecting your blood sugar in a way that does with some others, but definitely something to be mindful of, because that type 2 diabetes thing, man, it sneaks up on a lot of people and they don't realize that they've got those underlying health conditions until, it's years later. And a lot of the things that people wind up getting started probably 20 or more years earlier. And so there's never really any time to just sit on it if you're concerned about maybe having the last portion of your life somewhat healthy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's important because so many people get to that last stage in their life and then they're living in a kind of a debilitated fashion. That can happen to any of us, but you don't go into it just saying, "Oh, fuck it, I'm whatever." You kind of got to give it the old college try, to stay active and mobile and all of that.
Flexible.
Yeah,
that's important.
Yeah,
I asked our grandson was pulling his foot up to his mouth and sucking on his big toe. Don't ask why, I don't know. But anyway, I asked Eric, I said, "Hey, can you do that?"
No, of course not. Of course not. Yeah, Peter Attia, I actually listened to that guy, and one of the things he said, it was a pretty interesting comment, but it's very true. And he said that one thing that we all have in common is we're all going to have a last 10 years of our life, but most of us will not know when we enter it. And, you want to have those last 10 years be 10 years where you're not laid up with some debilitating illness, but that's usually the way most people go out. They go and they start to go to the doctor and, oh, you've got this and you've got that. Next thing you know, you're on a shit ton of medications. And then pretty soon you can't move around or you fall down, break your hip, and that's the story of a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no guarantees to say you go out and you try to do all these other things and it's not going to end that way for you. But again, you don't not give it the old college try, right?
Yeah. I would much rather do the whole healing through dietary as opposed to pills. I'm just not, I'm not into taking medications. So even when I had my wisdom teeth, I had the dentist get really upset with me because I would not take the pain medication that he gave me. I just toughed it out.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, I went water skiing the following day and really made him mad. But
yeah. No, I went back. We went back to Philadelphia. I had a surgery done, and I went back to this specialized surgeon who specializes in core injuries. He works on actually a lot of professional athletes, hockey players, baseball players, football players of the NFL, NHL. So this fucking trip wasn't cheap. Let's put it that way. But I wanted to go to somebody who wasn't going to just like put some bullshit in there and like fix me up the wrong way. So I went back to Philadelphia, and, of course they did the surgery, give you the, here's your medication or whatever. I never took any of that medication. I was up the next day walking, trying to get back to running, doing my rehab. I actually did take aspirin. I took a couple aspirin, but they gave me those pills, the hydrocodone or whatever, that once you take them, you can't take a shit for a week. Yeah. I said, no, I kept them. Believe me, I kept them because you never know when you might need something like that, where you're in like excruciating pain and it's on a Friday night. So I do have pills, but it's not something that I typically bother using. Somebody really wants to get a hold of you.
Yeah, it's our son.
Yeah, he can wait. Or you can put it in the comment section. Yeah.
Wrong son.
Yeah. Willow Rocks is asking how to make mustard. You never made mustard, right?
I have never made mustard.
Yeah, she mentioned something about mustard, and I don't think you've ever made
that
mustard.
we don't use it. Well, I have to take that back. I have to rescind that back
Mm-hmm.
because when I do make my salad dressing, I do use the stone ground Dijon mustard.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So that's the answer to that, Willow Rocks. Hogs14 says the biochar soap is so hot. Well, let me just tell you this. We just sold this week, we just sold another like 10 bars of her soap. And I will say that the lemon squeeze, I had to take that off of the website because that's no longer available. But we still do have, how many of the biochar you said you only got?
I believe there's one bar of the biochar soap left, and then we've got a few of the espresso self.
Right. So you're going to need to get into making some more of that, I guess. I'm assuming there's a timeline for you working on doing that or whatever, but were you going to be making any more of that lemon squeeze or breeze or whatever? And
the lemon squeeze, I'm going to make more of that. However, using it, I tested a bar out on myself. I believe that the fragrance kind of fades a little bit fast, so I'm actually going to boost that fragrance a little bit more.
Right. Okay. Well, she's going to be starting to make some more soap or whatever, but there's still a few more offerings on the site if it's something anybody's interested in.
And then hopefully we'll be adding some lip balm, but you get to be the guinea pig on that one.
Right. Yeah, I like my personal favorites. Your coffee, your espressos soap. I like that. It smells to me like something I could eat, so I like that.
He wakes up in the morning. So what are we having for dinner?
Exactly. Willow Rock says core strength is important. Not me. I hit 55 and testosterone and peptides will be my friend. Core strength is extremely important. That's something I get up every morning and I do. That's one of the first things I do, right?
Mm-hmm.
3 minutes of a static plank. And then I go into a bunch of other variety of different other mobility and strength exercises. It takes me about 20 minutes. And that's how I start my day, along with coffee and some yogurt.
And our dog, who likes to lay right in the middle of his exercise pad.
Exactly. So let me ask you, what are you most excited about in 2024, Rebecca? Do you have anything that you're interested in?
I'm excited to add more products.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about running the Javelina race, which would be that would be an ultra for me that I have not run since 2017. However, the price of it may steer me away from it.
Right. Yeah, these races are expensive, man. I mean, people think, oh, it's just running. Well, it is when you first start out because all you need is a pair of shorts and shoes, but the more you do it, the more stuff you need. And then you start entering races. It's pretty expensive. Yeah, very expensive, quite honestly.
Mm-hmm. So
I would say for me, that's what I'm excited about is those athletic challenges. I'm excited about furthering my just my overall fitness. And I'm really starting to see those changes come into play and that keeps me inspired and motivated. The race that I signed up for here this week is the Bighorn 100, and that's in Wyoming, and that's end of June. It's the longest day of not longest day, but the week of the longest day of the year. So there'll be a lot of daylight in that one. And it's the first race that I ever did not finish. And I want to go back and avenge that. So that's one of the reasons why I had mentioned, doing bold things. I don't want to just give up on that race and say that it's something that I can't complete. So I'm going to go back this year and try that. One of the things I noticed when I was signing up is there's a guy that is signed up in that race. He goes by the name of William Barkin. And the thing that's interesting about William Barkin is he is a blind runner. So he will be running with a guide the entire time, kind of telling him, hey, you've got this on this side and that on that side. He's got he can see, but he's got really bad peripheral vision. Mm-hmm. And so he needs to run with a guide. And I saw his name on there, and that's super inspiring. Hopefully I get a chance to meet and talk with him because I did a video on this channel earlier this year. and I posted it was at the Western States 100, and William Barkin was in that, and I didn't know anything about him, but it turns out he missed finishing. He finished the race, but he didn't get an official finish because he missed finishing by like, I don't know, 23 seconds. He was 23 seconds over 30 hours. And so he doesn't get an official finish. He doesn't get recognized as, having finished it. And so what a heartbreaking thing to have witnessed. But yeah, I filmed that whole thing, and it's kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. That just goes to show, guys, that, the limitations that we put upon ourselves are largely limitations we've put upon ourselves. And here you have a blind guy who's going to run a fucking legit hard ass 100-miler. And I just think that that's, pretty incredible.
So when you see me at the aid station, I say, hey, do you want to take your rain gear? And you want to take your headlamp with you?
I'm going to say yes. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Ultra marathons. Yeah. Ultra marathons. Correct. Oh, yeah. I thought that was what you did. Long distance. Yes. Yeah. That's kind of what I like doing. I don't know. I'm going to be running some shorter races here coming up, starting soon, but that's only in preparation for just adding that to my training. There's a local series that runs here, only costs you $5 a race, and you get to strap on a bib and then run like 2 or 4 miles, but it's a race. Mm-hmm. And you run through, the timing mats, and they have a whole like placing thing or whatever, which I don't really care about, but I'm just doing it to go up and strap on a bib. Every time you strap on a bib and get that adrenaline rush and get nervous and, hey, I did that, you just get more accustomed to the whole thing. So we'll be doing that shortly, but primarily I like to run the longer stuff. You should do 100, it's within your capability. It's within most people's capability. There's a lot of walking involved for a lot of people, depending on the race. If it's flat or if it's hilly, you're still going to be walking, a good bit of it. So get good at your power hiking and run the downs, man.
I would suggest, this is just for me, I would suggest doing 100K first and then do a 100-miler. Because it's amazing the difference between the 62 to the 100. Yeah. I physically have only done the 100K, right? But I've heard other people come in and talk about how much more exhausting it is. Just that last little stretch.
It's unbelievably mentally challenging just to to be in a race and fucking be like in mile 30, be suffering and think I got 70 more miles or whatever. It's just, that's the whole thing. You got to work through it. And, and the other thing I'm excited about, I guess, is just being with family and getting a chance to spend time with family while we still have the ability to play with our grandkids and maybe go and do a few things and just getting a chance to spend time with you, Yeah. Yeah.
As long as I'm running, huh?
No. I told you any time, anywhere you want to go, let's just plan it. See, she always puts this shit on me.
No, we got offered to go to Turkey, but you got to run.
Well, I know, but that was because it was already planned for that. So next year we'll go to Turkey. But anywho,
I'm blaming you.
I know you still do. And I'm like, let's go get a tree. And you're like,
well, we still haven't got a tree yet, have we?
No.
I was going to bring you that one little sad looking tree.
Yeah. So let's turn the page here. And I just want to talk a little bit about some of the things that maybe for this upcoming year. What are you concerned about, if you have any concerns, Rebecca?
I am actually concerned about what I refer to as the dream team. So Trump and his team, because I think he's chose some good people to support himself, but I feel that they are all going to be targeted and they're going to struggle. They're going to struggle to pass the legislation and what have you when they're in the office.
Right. Well, that's the whole point point of government is, checks and balances, and, you don't just ram shit through just because whatever. But I guess share your concern. That's probably the thing that I'm most concerned about in 2025 is just the disruption that is potentially on the way from the deep state. And, those folks have a lot to lose that are invested into the deep state, whether it's on the left or the right. And I don't think there's really anything that they will, stop them from trying to disrupt the vote that just took place in this last election. I really think that they're quite opposed to much of the agenda that Trump is intending on putting forth. And so I think that, again, they'll stop at nothing, including taking Trump out. And I just fear, I guess that's my biggest concern, because I do feel as though there's a renewed sense of optimism in the country, and people are, optimistic and happy about a change in direction. Maybe the economy will get going again. Maybe the border will be sealed. Maybe there will be a level of respect around the world from some of these, countries that have been basically taking advantage of the United States. And maybe there'll be some recognition that the money being spent might be better served spending it here on our people rather than sending so much of it abroad. And there's a lot of forces, man, not only in the deep state within our country, but globally, that do not want to see that happen. And I really think that there's going to be some form of disruption. And if it's in fact, causes people to react in a way that gets shit out of control in this country. I mean, we saw that overnight when everybody was locked down at COVID. And then all of a sudden, George Floyd gets choked out. And this country erupted overnight. Everybody's locked down with their masks on. And then all of a sudden, boom, there you have it.
And
hundreds of thousands of people.
And that's peaceful.
Hundreds of thousands of people in the streets, violently protesting, burning shit down, people losing their lives. And that happened for 3 months over fucking some black dude getting choked out. Imagine what happens when something else happens that causes people to just take to the streets. I don't know. So again, that's not a very optimistic tune to strike leading into the year, but I do have those concerns. And I would just say for anybody listening, it's never the wrong time to try to make yourself better tomorrow than you were today by putting a little something back, either economically or in your cache of resources, or making yourself a little bit better in some way by making yourself a little bit more fit where you can actually go out and do some things, because you might need to do some things. So I guess that's my my doomsday rant for the night. Half of Viagra will oxygenate your blood. Is that what they're saying? I don't know. I'm not buying that. So I think we'll wrap things up here tonight, but I would just say, I'm going to ask you, Rebecca, is what message, I suppose, would you like to leave folks with, kind of as a reminder of how to approach this upcoming year?
I believe that in everything, there's something positive. So even when you feel down, you feel, you have negative thoughts, there's something positive in that. And that's what I think people need to search out. Mm-hmm. And then gravitate towards that positive and allow that positive to grow. And so one of the things I was going to say that I have in our house, and I really like the saying, but it goes like this: life is like a camera. Focus on what's important, develop from the negatives, and if it doesn't work out, you can always take another shot.
That is pretty good. That's in our house?
Yeah.
Where's that at?
I'll show you later.
Okay.
But I think it's an awesome saying. Yeah, it is. And I think it's something really good to live by.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I got to go with that. That's nice. Yeah, that is good. You're going to have to show me where that's hidden. It's probably right in plain view, and I'm just walking by it for years.
You built the frame for it.
Probably so. But anywho, I would say what I would like to leave you guys with is, it's really easy to get in the groove and get into that comfort level and just kind of go along with what you're hearing. And it's really easy to become comfortable in those echo chambers that we all tend to gravitate toward. But definitely challenge the assumptions that are out there, because there's a lot of assumptions that people put out there and expect others to just lap them up. And so, always be skeptical of what you're hearing, and certainly be skeptical of authority, because authority, what they want is to put out a message that's going to keep them in that position of authority. So you have to look at it from the standpoint of, why are they saying that? And does it make any sense? And so often what we hear, when you really just do a little bit of research, a little bit of like critical thought, and challenge those things that they're saying, you can come to a pretty logical like conclusion, or at least one that causes you to dig further and do some further investigation. Because what I'm seeing in moving forward in 2025 is, I think we're going to see a big shift, maybe in the media, where people obtain their information and the sources in which they go to try to get some form of balance. Because what you're getting from the narrative from the legacy media is nothing about balance. That's a lot about a script that's being read from the teleprompter, and you don't get people actually engaging in dialogue. And that's why there was so much, I think, growth from a lot of these podcasts that had different guests on, because you could just have somebody on and get a chance to hear what they had to say, and people could analyze for themselves. And I don't know, I think that there's going to be a big change moving forward, but I also think that the establishment is going to do everything that they can do to try to hold on to that power, hold on to that grip of authority. Because the reality is that most of these oligarchs, they own all of these institutions. That's why they're so anti. They're just freaked out about the fact that Elon Musk purchased a platform that used to be controlled by leftists, and now other people other than leftists have a voice on that platform. So if you're somebody from the right, you get a chance to speak your mind. If you're somebody from the left, guess what? You get the chance to speak your mind. But people that want to control the narrative, that freaks them out. And so what do? They leave because they don't control the narrative, and they go in their own echo chamber. I want to bring this up, is that Parler. I've spoken about this before, but you guys remember Parler. Parler actually took off and became a thing when conservatives were basically censored. It wasn't that they didn't want to be on Twitter. It wasn't that they didn't want to be on Facebook. It's that they were being summarily censored from those platforms. They weren't given a voice. And so what did they do? They retreated to Parler, which was essentially a right wing, or I wouldn't say right wing, but there were more conservative, libertarian leaning voices that were on that platform. That's the reason why that existed. And then even that was taken down because people were speaking too much outside of the narrative. So just understand that those forces still exist, even though we have a new day, potentially with a new presidency coming in. But just be skeptical. Do your own research. Don't listen to what anybody tells you as the gospel, because usually when people are telling you something, it's because they have a reason for telling you that. There's something behind it. What's in it for them? What's in it for me? I'll tell you what's in it for me, because I have fun doing this. I have fun challenging the notion that you're going to tell me what the fuck I can say. That's why I do it, because I'm a little rebellious that way. I like that.
A little?
Yeah, I like that. I like challenging that. I like presenting things here that may piss people off. And that's okay. You know, that's part of it. You may like it, you may not like it, and that's okay. But I would hope that what we do here is thought-provoking, sometimes provocative, maybe a little bit educational, maybe a little bit entertaining. And it's a place where people can come and say what they want to say without fear of retribution, or at least not from me or her. So I guess with that, guys, I want to thank you again, and we'll leave that as the final word for the season number 2 of Porterhouse and Teal Live. Not sure what we're going to talk about or what we're going to do next year when we come back. That's all up in the air. We'll figure that out when we get there, if we get there, right?
Yes. We also want to say Merry Christmas.
Yep.
Thank you for listening to us.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks again, guys. And we're going to go ahead and have some dinner and then call it an evening, and we'll see you sometime next year.
Happy New Year.